Right, welcome back to Whistle Watch, the hot seat, and we are swapping the rugby field for the football pitch. We've got a man who's gone from Arsenal's midfield to firefighting in Bristol. Welcome, David Hillier. Good to see you, mate.
Very nice to be here.
David, what a journey from Highbury to the high-pressure job of a fireman.
Yes, it was indeed. Yeah, but it was quite a smooth journey in the end. I think back then I wasn't really prepared for after. You know, I'd done decent out of football. You know, so I secured a few things before probably my friends did, like mortgages and stuff like that. So there was no real pressure on. So I kind of took my eye off the ball a little bit and didn't have a lot to do.
And how long were you a pro footballer then?
I was a pro footballer from 18 to 30, nearly 34. Finished at
good
Barnet.
innings.
Yeah, I finished at Barnet with Martin Allen, a good friend of mine, West Ham. And yeah, it was just it was almost a natural progression. I hadn't done nothing for a little while. We had a couple of properties, so you know, financially it was okay. Yeah. And my wife said to me, "I've just heard an advert on the radio for firefighters. Get yourself out of the house for a few days of the week," because I think I was getting under her feet. And yeah, it seemed like a good match.
How many years did it take you to come to that point to go, right, I probably should do something else?
Only 18 months.
18 months.
Initially when I left, we had friends at the village school who was doing an extension on his house, a builder. And he said to me, "Do you want to come along, bump a bit of stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that for a few weeks." And I went from £2,500 a week to £60 a day.
Oh, lovely.
But I loved every minute of it. I loved every minute. I was outside, I was humping blocks and bricks, and over a couple of years he taught me quite a lot. And because I'd been in properties before but never done stuff, I started just doing stuff myself.
So when you started in Arsenal at 14 years of age,
Yep.
when you came through that system then, there were some big names and big characters in that team then. What was that like? How did they treat you? How did you cope with those big characters?
Well, I think we was kind of integrated from about 14 anyway, because Arsenal had just had the JVC centre built. And so the Thursday and the Monday night training sessions then became there. And quite often you'd see first team players there doing their like late session, or the first year pros, second year pros doing a bit their afternoons and that there. So I think, yeah, it was kind of early doors you got introduced to them, but to be fair, they was kind of like rock stars, but accessible back then. You know, you had Pat Rice was our coach in the youth team. And he was an ex-player, but you know, he walked around and he had all the gear, he had all the suits still, and he still had a nice car, and you walk in and you think, oh, you know, one day, if I work hard enough. And yeah, fortunately, I made the grade at each point to get there.
Yeah, no, so you were a combative midfielder,
Yeah.
right? Lots of graft, lots of hard work, lots of tackles,
Yeah.
a lot of movement on the pitch.
Very different to him.
Well done.
Well, just the movement bit, but
Yeah,
plenty of tackles.
it's hard enough. Did you find you had to work twice as hard as other players who maybe had a bit more kind of natural flair for the game?
I was thinking about this because obviously we'd had notes sent to us before, and I was kind of thinking, and I don't want to do myself an injustice, because when I was
You had flair, mate.
no, when I was young, I was a top player. I mean, you know, at every school level, I played for the under-11s when I was 7, and I'd only been playing for 2 years. When I was 8, they made me captain, and I'm captain of the district at 8 years old, captain an 11-year-old. So it was like, there was obviously something in me when I first started playing. But I do think I think I was a good listener, so I took instructions really well. So if someone said to me, "This is your job today, do this is what a centre-back does," because I played centre-back until I was 12.
Yeah.
And being combative and aggressive helped me deal with the bigger lads, because I was a little centre-half, so I learnt to jump high, I was brave.
Like Nigel Owens.
Yeah, kind of. Well, we're about the same.
I had the whistle, so they had the same.
So yeah, so in some ways I did have to compensate, but it's fine. Sometimes, you know, if talent's not working, hard work will always fill that gap. Always. And I never didn't work hard. I loved it. I loved being out. I loved the wind, the rain, the mud. You know, I weren't precious.
And I bet you loved your first goal. That must be when you score your first goal for Arsenal against Liverpool in '92. What do you remember
First goal
about
was
that?
against Sheffield United.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was when the mural was there. Before that, and that was Anderson Improv on the left. He cut it back, and I kind of. I want to say.
He remembers all the details.
I didn't shank it, but I deliberately hit it with a slight bit of outside, and it looped over. But the goal against Liverpool was a really good goal, but it got slightly overshadowed by Anders Limpar scoring from the halfway line, doing a David Beckham.
Oh, I remember that goal,
over
yeah.
Hooper, just inside their half. So
I don't remember your goal, I remember his goal.
yeah,
sorry.
well, yeah, no, most people don't now because of that. But mine was all right. It was from a corner. Yeah, a little tap in.
Yeah, and so your time at Arsenal then, like most players, you get a bit older, you pick up a few more injuries, and in your case, you get a bit less game time under Arsene Wenger as coach. Take us back to that moment. How did that feel?
Well, I hadn't done myself any favours a couple of years prior to that, really.
In what way?
Not gone off the rails, but you know, I'd sort of let my standards slip a little bit, shall we say?
Partied a bit harder.
Yeah, I was partying, and I wasn't really, like I've always winged everything all my life. It's just the next stage. You're just looking to get to your next contract. I was never a planner. I've never been a planner of things, really. I'm just, you know, what comes around, and I'll deal with it. And I've been really fortunate, you know, to roll into the fire service, to roll out of that, and the next day start a business that's non-stop. It's been non-stop for 5.5 years. So I've been pretty lucky.
How did you deal then with, and a lot of, I couldn't think, as a referee, and you were the same, you were never dropped really, were you? Were you?
Yeah, for
Wales,
really? Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right towards the end of your career.
End,
yeah. So I was sort of very lucky as a referee. I was never dropped and stuff, and you always wanted to be out in the middle as a referee. You'd have to run touch sometimes. Was it the playing more important than you, than sort of sticking in Arsenal, being in a big club, or you wanted to go out there and no matter where it was, you just wanted to play?
Well, just going back to what Jamie was saying, which is relevant to what you've said. So when you're on a little bit of a decline in form, shall we say, you're not getting the games. So you're not part of the integral team and stuff like that. And that started to slip away. So yes, I didn't get first team games. So then that pushes me into, I'm getting towards the end of my contract. It was better to go right at the end because you got more dough, you got more money because you're a free agent, or as close to the end. So kind of that pushed me into it. The only regret I've ever had is not staying there and saying, do you know what, Wenger's here, I'm going to give it 6 months, I'm going to knuckle down, because I always felt that my game was based and my confidence was based on my fitness and how I looked after myself. So when I was disciplined for like all summer and went back pre-season, there was no one better in the first pre-season games. I dominated, and then
He was big with fitness, wasn't he, man? Didn't he bring in?
He was sort of massive, but he changed it a bit. He done the sort of age thing, sort of strength and conditioning for the older pros. The young pros can still do the agility, the speed and quickness, and it worked for them.
I would have loved that.
We should be playing now.
Yeah, it'd have been lovely. All you've done is go there, you have a little stretch. I'll do a few planks and stuff like that, keep your core strong. But it obviously worked brilliant because he turned that back four into a much better back four. An unbelievable. They was good anyway, but then he brought football.
Bit of edge
in. Yeah.
Let's talk about your time in the fire service then. So you finished from football, right? And you mentioned your fitness. Do you think the crossover to that line of work, do you think your fitness element was one of the big pillars that allowed you to enjoy the fire service? Did you need
the fitness and the social sport activity at fire stations, because you have a set daily routine, and 11 till 12 was sport every day. So and that was part of the conditions of one of your competencies to maintain your fitness. Yeah. So it's brilliant. So it was volleyball, badminton. We'd go in a gym and do a circuit or whatever. So
you're doing that until the alarm goes.
Oh, obviously, yeah. We don't say, wait, hold on a minute. I've got to finish this 5K. I'll be there in 15 minutes.
I got to pot the black now and I'll be there.
No. I think the taxpayer will be a bit disappointed with that. But no. So sometimes it'll get interrupted. But yeah, there was that element to it, and also it was 2 days and 2 nights, so it was over in 4 days. You got 4 days off, which was lovely. I could still be half retired. I looked at it, and football. I stayed away with the team all the time, didn't I? So I was used to nights away, and it was just a really, really steady progression.
So that transition was sort of naturally came to you then, because I know a lot of players, referees slightly different because you spend a lot of time, you're quite used to working on your own and travelling on your own, but as a player you're in that structure all the time. So that transition sort of happened quite naturally for you, and that's important, I think, when you don't want to wake up in the morning and think, because you with doing the doctor and everything, you knew when my time's come, I know what I'm going to do next. Pretty much in a sense. To make that final decision.
It took me 3 years after retiring. I just needed breathing space.
To decide what to do.
Yeah, you mentioned the 18 months. I think people sometimes just have a bit of breathing room. Saying that, some lads.
But that's the
go
beauty.
straight
That's the
into
beauty of
something.
sport and playing at a decent level. You can sustain that in your family and
Yes.
everyone for that period of time.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't obviously set about re-educating. I mean, I think I did an 11-week course, and then all of a sudden I was given a hose and say save that person or cut them out of a car. That was it. 11 weeks. I was trauma trained, high level first aid trained, so first like sort of responder trained.
Did you experience a lot of sort of trauma in the fire brigade?
I saw some horrific stuff. Yeah.
Do you think the skills you learnt in football and the life you had in football helped you deal with that?
Yeah,
Maybe a bit
I think my
easier from
upbringing as
someone
well.
who-
I think my upbringing.
upbringing,
I was quite a resilient child, you know.
What was your upbringing? Where was that?
So I was brought up in South London in Greenwich.
Tough place?
Yeah, I was kicked out at 7:30 in the morning, let back in at 5:30 for dinner. But I had great parents, but I lived my life outside. I lived it in the derelict buildings and on the estates and in the cages playing football. Just looking after yourself. So there was no one to sort of, you know, rub your knee if you fell over and banged it. There was none of that, you know. My dad was likely to sort of give me a clip round the ear and say, man up a bit, you know. So I just became resilient, I think.
Yeah. Let's delve into that a bit deeper then, just around pressure, because you know the pressure on the football park. You've got obviously the crowd, you've got your teammates. There are obviously financial pressures, you know, contract to play for, family pressures as well. What pressures did you feel in the fire service? How did that pressure compare?
Again, I feel even with football, I didn't really face a lot of pressures. I think it was like almost divided between the team when you came off anyway.
Okay.
The most pressure I ever felt on a football pitch was when I was on corners, and I hated it at Arsenal. Hated being on corners because you're over in that corner and you know everyone's watching you, and you know you've done
When
it.
you're taking the corner, you
Yeah,
mean,
and you know you've took it 20 times on Friday, and you've got 19 of them in the right spot, and it's just like
Quite isolated. Taking
yeah,
the corner, I guess.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And your team ain't with you. But during the game, if you do something wrong, you know, crap happens, as they say, or whatever.
Yeah.
With the fire service, it was a little bit more risk. So crap happens wasn't an option.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a pressure. I'd been in buildings sometimes which was so hot, and I've had to get myself out of there because I didn't feel comfortable, and that's not a nice feeling, or I didn't know where I was in a building. The disorientation and, you know.
That teamwork then in the fire brigade,
That's massive.
probably more important.
Massive.
Obviously on the football pitch, the
Massive.
teamwork is important,
Yeah.
but it's a matter of life and death in the fire brigade,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. And it's funny because my sort of fire brigade career kind of ended like my football career did regarding when we talk about getting games for the first team. So I was at a fire station that was really busy for 10 years with all mostly fires and a few car rescues. Then I went to Avonmouth, which was the M5 corridor. So I've seen every kind of decapitation, arm off, leg off, shortening injuries, people with multiple injuries, people that have been thrown 60 metres out of a car, and motorcyclists that have rolled along the road and literally they're just like a rag doll. They've got everything's broken. So I've seen all that, and I was really busy stations, and then I decided to move closer to my house, and I went to a quieter station. And then the action stopped a bit, so the teamwork stopped a bit, and it just deteriorated for me. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't.
You
I,
just like
I
being
wanted
busy,
to do stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to get out. I wanted
Yeah.
to chop the cars up. They wanted to eat biscuits, drink tea, and you know, just do an alarm. And
Well,
then-
that's not to do with the work ethic of being a sportsman, I guess, isn't it? You know, it's just every day
Yeah.
it's hard work. You
Yeah.
push and push yourself.
I still
and
do
not-
it now.
yeah.
I still get out every day on the jobs, and I'll lay bricks or blocks or plaster, or do extensions and loft conversions and stuff like that. So, yeah.
When I
The minute you stop doing, you
I can't
feel a bit
stop
empty,
doing it.
don't
I
you?
can't
You've got to
stop.
keep going.
When I used to work in a school as a technician and did some work as youth worker as well. And then when I became a professional rugby referee with the WU back in 2001, I all of a sudden you had a lot of time on your hands, like, you know. And one of my mates is an undertaker, and he asked me, the guy who usually drives the hearse is off ill. Do you mind? I said, oh no, I can't drive a hearse. I'm not driving the hearse. Will you drive the second for me then? I said, right, okay. So I jumped in the mourner's car. The funeral was down in Crem in Narbeth, which is about a 45-minute drive. And there's an old lady, and in my mourner's car were all the grandchildren. Well, they cried from the minute they got in till the minute they got out, and I cried with them all the way down, driving the car. I didn't know the woman, and I would be hopeless, I think, at doing what you were doing. Hopeless.
Yeah, I mean, you have to detach yourself a bit from it, and like I say, you've got the focus of the actual job and because there's strict guidelines on procedures and processes and stuff, and you're well trained and you keep your competencies up, it's second nature. It really is. You know, like, you know, when you're cutting up a car, you see them on telly and it takes them like 5 or 10 minutes in a show. That's 30 seconds out in the real world. Yeah, they just fly around it, especially.
And the difference between getting somebody out live or not.
Yeah, basically. But they do that with everything secure and that, so there's no real worries about that. It's not nice when you see people in a lot of pain or have lost pets. You know, that was probably my worst job, was when I took 2 Jack Russells out of a van that got on fire, and the bloke had left his dogs in there, and they was his world, and I had a Jack Russell at the time. And it was like, I handed them both to him, and I was like, oh mate, it was just like, I was crying my eyes out.
So that's staying kind of detached emotionally. Let's talk about staying attached to football.
Yep.
So you're now involved with Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm fortunate
in the media department, right?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I think I was saying to you earlier, you know, I played football 25 years ago now, or 23 years ago, and I still are privileged enough to go back there, do the commentary for part of their. It's a commentary that they use for their clips and all of their YouTubes and their socials and all of that. It's not the online commentary. But yeah, it's great. Go back. Go to the media lounge. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, even though I ain't got no Barnet anymore. Yeah, so I was like David Ginola back in the day. I was pretty much. Yeah, I was like, it was all there. It was all there. Yeah, I know, you're surprised, isn't it? Look at his face, look. Yeah, all right, because you've got lots of hair. Yeah, we know.
I used to love. I've always enjoyed watching. I'm not a big football fan, but I enjoy watching Match of the Day. You know, so a lot of those players that generation, I would have remembered the one I can't remember.
Yeah, I had a bit of Barnet, but no, I go back there, and it's nice with the old staff. There's still some old staff there that are there, and they, all right, Dave, how are you, and all that. I went to a the AFC celebrity football dinner on Thursday in Southgate. And it was great seeing all the old faces. You know, Davo was there, Tony Adams was there, but then you had Alan, a guy called Alan Sefton. You had Raymondo, who's been on the desk at Arsenal for the last 75 years or something like that. But he loves it, and and it was great to see them all.
What was the highlight then in your football career? What was the moment that you always remember?
I think for me, I know it's going to sound really weird, but it was lifting the FA Youth Cup when I was 18.
And you captain then?
Yeah, I was captain, and we battered Doncaster Rovers. I think it was 4-1 and then 2-1, something like that, 4-1, 1-1. So it was my first. It was a real proper family for like 2 years solid. I was getting up at 6 in the morning and getting in at 7 at night, doing an old school apprenticeship for 25 quid a week with 15 other lads that were doing exactly the same. You know, and then we were standing on the line running our nuts off morning and afternoon, doing the washing in the afternoon, sorting out all the kit for Effel to clean.
Makes me want to play again, Nigel.
It was amazing. It was 2 years of such a great experience, and I speak to them all still, every single one of them, bar obviously Kevin Campbell and Alan Miller, who have passed away. So it's brilliant. It's
and what about
stunning.
your favourite memory from the fire service?
Favourite memory from the fire service? So one thing that I remember is picking a pit bull up off of he was stuck on a riverbank, and we got called to a dog stuck on the side of a river. It's called the Feeder Road. It's like a canal that runs through Bristol, and it's got these little banks. And I absolutely love animals, so I'm in the right place, honestly. If you need anything done after, I don't mind having.
I remember that.
I really don't mind. I've got dogs, cats. I've got a giant terrapin that I love feeding steak because he loves it. But I've always loved animals, and he was stuck, and no one would go near it. It didn't have a collar on, and the woman was standing there with its collar, and it was like this studded thing that made it look like it was a beast, massive thing. And I'm like, I've seen the dog whisperer. I know what he does. He goes shh, shh, like that, and he looks at the dog. Don't give it space and all of this stuff. And we waded across the water and got to it, and it's doing that. And we had a guy called Alexi, who was a rugby player at the time, big lad. And he was standing 6 foot behind me, and then I turned and he was 8 foot, and then he was 10 foot. And I'm thinking, oh what? And I went over and I just picked the dog up, cuddled it like that. I had his face right next to mine, and I took it out. And even the woman whose dog it was like,
"You're a brave man.
Do you want to put his collar on him as well?" Like that. And I went, "Come here," put his collar on, and just.
They sense animals, don't they?
And
they sense that.
Yeah, that was kind of that was a highlight, quite a funny little one.
David, before we finish off, and thank you very much for your time. It's really, really interesting. Every fireman, you look at when you were a kid reading books or watching TV programs, every fireman has been up a tree on a ladder saving a cat.
I have.
That?
I have.
You have, yeah?
I have saved the cat, but it was from a window.
Oh!
It was stuck in, you know, the windows that open like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It had tried to jump through, and it was like, and something was pretty swollen. When we got the poor little thing off. But no, never been up the tree. Done lots of birds off of the roofs in central Bristol, because the seagulls in the netting, stuff like that. Went to Bath once, big call out, turntable ladder, and it was a fake kestrel that they'd put on top of the thing to scare the birds off. And we stopped the traffic in Bath and everything, and there was all the cars couldn't move, and we got up there and it's like, yeah, I might be leaving this one here. But yeah, I had some good times in it. But yeah, as I say, just
David, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thanks very much. From the pitch to the fire station. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, mate. Good man.
Cheers, James.
Cheers.